No, but they're not USB. I know.
Everything I put in my house, got to do it.
Got it. Got it. Roger, got
And then my.
Tonight's committee of the whole meeting to order for September the 5th of 2023. I'd like to make it known that Mayor Smook will be on Zoom. She's attending late. Mayor Councillor Colburn is on a leave of absence, and Councillor McIver sends her regrets, and we send our condolences to Councillor McIver as she's had a death in her immediate family. So with that, we will officially call this to order, and I'd also like to take a moment to recognize that we are on Treaty 5 territory this evening, the traditional territory of NCN and the homeland of the Métis, and that we are all here treaty people. So with that, I'd like to move to have an approval of the agenda, please, for this evening. Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Wong, all those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Next up, we have a presentation this evening from Katie Anderson on seniors housing / beds. So Katie, you're welcome to come up to the delegate table. Okay. And how our presentation delegations work is you have 10 minutes to present to Mayor and Council. After your presentation, Mayor and Council can ask you any clarifying questions that they may have based on your presentation. Okay. So welcome, and the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you. This is a really important issue, and a lot of people in the north don't know about it. And so my reason for being here is to educate everybody and to hopefully get support. So I'm a retired teacher from Flin Flon, Katie Anderson. I've been involved in a lot of volunteer work in the years since I retired. And I'm currently president of our seniors executive in Flin Flon. I also was asked if I would be willing to be a director on MASC, Manitoba Association of Senior Communities. It's an excellent support group. I think the world of them. I only got nominated in June, and they're fabulous. We try and meet once a month. Through the winter, it'll be Zoom because of our roads, right? So because of that, I think I got invited to be on the Senior Strategy Implementation Steering Committee, which is a government committee. And I said to the person that phoned me, I said, I'm not political. I said, you're going to hear what I'm thinking. I'm not going to be dancing to anybody's tune. So she said, good, that's what we want. Well, they heard from me. And I am speaking as an individual. I'm not speaking for my seniors executive in Flin Flon, for MASC, or for this committee. What got my dander up, as the old saying goes, was an announcement on July the 7th, sorry, this year by Scott Johnston, who is the Minister for Seniors and Long-Term Care. The announcement was made in Niverville, and I can give you a site if you want to see that, to look for it after. What was announced, he was very thrilled about it, and I was at first too. New, innovative, home-like settings for PCHs. So I'm smiling, I'm thinking this is wonderful. You know, some of the homes are pretty old, and like one in Flin Flon is actually a hospital ward. It doesn't feel like a home. It doesn't look like a home. There's nothing innovative about it. And so that's, I'm thinking of that. I know in Snow Lake, theirs has been closed. I have heard that somebody from Thompson, because didn't have enough beds, had gone to Flin Flon. I don't know if he's still there, but there's issues. Anyhow, there's 5 regional health authorities. I don't know whether you know that. Winnipeg, which includes Churchill, Interlake Eastern, Southern, Prairie Mountain, which is the west side of the province, and Northern. Close to 1,000 beds were promised in this announcement. 4 out of the 5 regional health authorities got beds. The North got 0. And that really upset me because we have needs, and how dare they ignore the North. We are 61% of the land area of the province. We have 75,000 people that we service in the regional health authority. There's a need. Please don't ignore us. So that's why I'm here. Okay. There's 3 programs they're doing. The first one is new beds with the innovative buildings and home-like settings. And that was, I don't know, about 700 or 800. Then there's the second one is for complex care, which would be somebody that maybe needs extra physical care, say trach help, or I was told bariatric, the obesity ones might go in there because they would have bigger equipment for people. So there's one going up in Brandon, 42 beds. There's one going in Winkler, which is Southern, 42 beds, Brandon's Prairie Mountain. Then there's 3 pilot projects that were talked about, and one is in Interlake Eastern in Ashern, and I think it's about 105 beds, so I just divided by 3, so I'm thinking there's about 35 beds in each of these 3 places. Prairie Mountain, Swan River is getting one of those pilot projects, and Emerson, which is Southern. So Prairie Mountain, Interlake Eastern, and Emerson got those. And that's a supported living program where people will be supported in their homes as they need. They'll get more support as they need. Again, nothing further more. And if I give you an example of Flin Flon, I am not speaking for Flin Flon alone, or I wouldn't be here. Please understand that, okay? I researched like crazy. I would be up till 3 in the morning, and then I'd stew for another couple hours over what I found. And I checked the total populations in each of the regions and the number of beds. And there's not a great discrepancy. There's some need for the different areas. I then researched the distance between these new care homes and how far you would have to go. And that made me think of the fellow from here that has to go 4 hours to Flin Flon. And so if his family wants to support him and see him, they've got 4 hours a visit and 4 hours back. Some of these new houses are homes that I looked up were 40 minutes apart or 55 minutes apart. So another inequity. Anyhow, those, like I've got a whole, I looked up every single care home throughout Manitoba and how many beds and the location, and there's 135, and I wrote everything down so that I wanted to know what I'm talking about. So I can't be backed into a corner and told to be quiet. Okay, so I really know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I know everything, but I really researched so that I would be solid with what I'm telling people. You know what the main reaction when I've told my first the seniors council in Flin Flon, just an executive, that's all. And then I went to Cranberry Portage and spoke to them. I went to City Council in Flin Flon and spoke to them. I've been to the PAW seniors and a tour of the facilities in the PAW, so I understand what they have. I'm here today to talk to you, and tomorrow, Penny, thank you, Penny, I will be speaking to the Northern Association of Community Councils at 9:30. And then Penny will take me on a tour of the facilities here again, so I have knowledge, so I I'm talking, when I'm talking, I'm talking about what I know what I'm talking about, that's what I'm trying to say. I speak with the Paw City Council on September 11th. I couldn't coordinate the visit with the seniors and the council, so I'm driving back. So I asked, what's the criteria for the bids and the programs? I don't know. How did somebody get so much and other people got nothing? And you know, we can often in the north and say, oh, that's the north, you know, they're not giving us stuff again. So we could shrug our shoulders, we could stamp our feet and yell. We can do all of the above, but what we need to do is take action. And that's what I'm leading. Okay, guys. So I'm going to get a petition. I've got somebody that will help me do an online petition. And also we'll do a paper one because some people are more comfortable with paper and some are online. So we're going to meet both those needs. I'm going to send in a parcel to this steering committee. Once I get everything compiled, like I want to know, when are your buildings built here? When have they been updated? What are things special? What do you feel you need? All of those things I want. So it's taking time. Plus I had my grandson married in the summer. So there was a little bit of a hitch there. And I'm asking if you would pass the word and ask not just seniors to sign this, because younger people are going to get older. I was told from when they're starting to look if there's a need until people can be in the building is often about 10 years. So the north is on 0 right now. And in 10 years, where will we be, right? So we need to really, really start. And that's why too, younger people, their signatures are mean just as much as the older ones. Sometimes I think it's not my issue because I'm not a senior. It is everybody's issue. And I think the north really needs to come together and yeah, stomp our feet and do a little yelling and push for change. I'm going to ask if you want our city council in Flinton offered to have a petition at City Hall because it's easily accessible. I'll maybe ask that, and in the seniors groups, and maybe letters to the MLA. I tried to contact all the MLAs and I left voicemails. I only was able to talk to the one in my area. And letters to the Minister of Long-Term Care, Seniors in Long-Term Care, and the Deputy Minister. I'm really asking us to come as a whole north and say this, we were shafted, guys, and I would like us to do something about it. Any questions?
Thank you very much. And I honestly believe that the north is very lucky to have you, Katie. With not sleeping much in research, you should consider this football. I'm just I admire your passion, and I'm gonna ask my council if they have any questions or comments they'd like to offer. Council Wong?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Kathy, for presentation. I'm not quite understand this senior bed is talking about, right? So are they run by the government or is it private or joint venture? Like what is that all about?
As far as I understand it, it is by the government. Now, maybe they go in with somebody else, but they are saying this is what they're offering. And that was in Niverville. And they also said that in recent years, the Manitoba government has opened the new personal care homes in Carmen, which is south, Niverville, south, Steinbach, south, recognized for their design and innovation. And I was really excited, right? But so it's by the government is what I understand.
Sorry about because I don't understand this because I never been through this issue because when my mom get old, I just look after and never worry about that. So this is new to me.
Yeah.
So is that mean like let's say you are the patient, the government provide you a place to live? Is that what it's all about?
Yeah.
And when you mentioned about the regional health authority, I believe in this room, we have two directors sitting on the northern director. So maybe they can advocate for you that stronger and somehow
And who are they?
interestingly, something that maybe we should look into it. And when you said zero, that amazed me. Why is it zero?
Yeah.
So,
So I can help clarify that. So it was a press release from the province of Manitoba. They made a press release in Niverville about expanding personal care homes in the province and the building of new and increasing beds. And the North did not receive any of that funding announcement. So that has now got an advocacy group led by yourself to advocate to why this has happened to the North, that they were left out of any increased funding and beds for personal care homes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any other comments from council? Councillor Fitzpatrick, or whatever, we were always at Fitzpatrick before you got married.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, regarding the petition, you said you were going to be starting. So it's going to be lobbying for additional funding for PCH beds in the north, is what it will.
And not just PCH beds, but the supportive housing where people are living on their own longer, but maybe they need some help, more help. So it's not what the option is. If you just had personal care, home, living at home, and no other options, go into personal care when you cannot. Maybe you can't get out of bed, you can't look after yourself, there's maybe dementia. But what the supportive housing is a step between that, so that will help people to stay longer in their homes. So those were the three pilot projects that they're doing. And again, the North didn't get a bite. So,
Any other comments or questions? Councillor John, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. If this program is going to be a government funded and government run program
yeah.
that you mentioned about other community got that facility,
Well, they have promised them, they haven't built them yet.
okay,
But one thing that really upset me was the North is 61% of the land area. Interlake Eastern has 4 beds promised that are within about an hour of each other. Like, why, you know? So there's things that we really have to ask and work to get answers, because I think if we just smile and say, oh, well, then nothing's going to change. So that's why I'm doing this. Like when you think of 61% got nothing, and then this little area in Interlake Eastern they're about, I looked them up, that was another thing that kept me awake, about 45 to maybe 55, 60 minutes. The 4 new homes are going to be within that distance. So, you know, like why? What's the criteria? How did they figure it? They said that area had more need, that there were more aged population, but I also looked up their numbers and they are less than double of the North. The North has 75,000. Interlake Eastern has 133. So they're less than double, but they have 777. I think that's right. I won't waste time looking. In the North, we have 330 approximately, and they're less than double. So if it were equal, kind of, it would be 660, but they've already got 777, and they're going to get about another 400 or more. Like when you really, really look into it, there's more questions than, you know, than answers, that's for sure.
one more
Go
question.
ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have any information how many senior, approximately the number of senior in town?
No,
You don't have.
but you know what?
In the north, I'm talking about, yeah, okay, in the north.
In the North, you know what? I'll be up tonight and I'll be ready to
Okay, thank you, thank you. And also, do you have any idea how many bed you need to accommodate all the senior that cannot look after themselves?
It's partly, maybe, we need to look into that. It's partly that, but it's also the quality of the homes too. And when you're hearing that they're innovative and they're home-like settings and all this, which make it the last year's more comfortable, more inviting, more home-like. And then like, I'll give you my example again, is ours is a hospital. It looks like a hospital ward. It feels like a hospital ward. My mother-in-law was in it. And they sit in a dark hallway and visit. And Snow Lake had 3 beds. And before COVID, they closed it. There's one person in Snow Lake that needs personal care. And her son is helping her at home, but she needs personal care and there's no place for her. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councilor Leonard, do you have a comment?
Yeah, it's, I know how we usually get some funding up here is, having a game plan ready. And I don't know if that'd be the city in particular, but I'd like to know if the Northern Health Authority, did some of their own homework and know how many people we have that are elderly or needed a home. And if they had that information, that stats, and or also with these organizations like Southern Health Authority, and they got this funding. I'm wondering if some of the senior groups down there maybe did studies or whatever and had a game plan ready to go where the province was able to say, okay, well, you need this much money to have this many beds, and they had that ready. If we knew that information, then maybe we could try and get the Northern Health Authority to pair that so that they could get something up here, but I'm sure that they like that, do stuff on our feet, but we have to have somebody to develop that plan and say, okay, we're ready now. North needs it, Flin Flon needs it, Thompson, we're servicing 78,000 people up here. But we need somebody to spearhead or champion. This is our plan, now we're innovating. And then the government can't ignore us, because otherwise, if we come to them without a plan, they'll stonewall us.
And the group in Interlake Eastern did do a lot of lobbying and research.
Yeah.
But I didn't know there was, I've been on the executive for, I think it's 7 years. I never knew there was a contest. You know, like, so, that bothers me too. What's the criteria? What are the, you know, rules? What's equity? What's fairness? What, you know, and this new guy, Raj Suda, is the new CEO for Northern Regional Health. I went in to talk to him and he's very good. He's backed me. He said, Katie, we're on the same page. He said, my picture is a bigger picture because it's not just seniors health, it's all health in the north. But he said, you and I are working as on the same team. He said, I'm really glad to support you. He said, if you needed someone to drive with you to any place, he would have come. And same as our mayor at Flin Flon said, he would go with me. And I mean, people are supportive. I don't think it's going to just be shoved under the carpet. You know?
Thank you.
All right, I got a last comment there, Councilor
I
Rivers.
just have kind of one more clarifying question, I guess just that triggered from Councilor Chong's question earlier. So as far as I'm aware, there are no supportive housing units for seniors in the north. And I know you went over a lot of information, so if you said that, I might have missed that, but I just.
The PAW has St. Paul's, which is the PCH for people that are needing a lot of care. And then they had a 5-story building that we went into. The top 3 are apartments, and people can be self-sufficient there, but they can go downstairs and have supper with people if they want. And the lower 2 floors have more care. So the PAW has a little more progression than we do in Flin Flon, and I don't know what you have here. And then the PAW had quite a few seniors, a big long building, and they'd added about 27 more apartments. They had a lot, like 47 or something. 2-bedroom apartments. And then they pointed out another building that, and I think it's maybe subsidized based on their income, I'm not sure. And then there's another building that's, so the PAW is more, has more than certainly we do, but
Sorry, just to clarify, so I guess I was just talking about kind of that in between PCH and independent living, so I think what we're calling that is supportive housing, or what the province, I think, is now calling it is supportive housing, right? So I think that I understand it is what's missing, and is that, well, is what the pilot project announced, that there
Yeah.
is sort of like a supportive housing type of structure for seniors, I think.
yeah. And the PAW kind of has that in that 5-story building that I went and toured.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
So just to clarify, Kitty, you're looking for some support from council with maybe a location for your petition, maybe a letter of support from the mayor's office. And we can also have this added to would be our next committee of the whole, so we can discuss how we want to support. Is that correct? I'm gonna let the city manager on that.
We could add it to the agenda for further discussion.
Okay, so we will further discuss this at our next committee of the whole, and we can have some background information or anything that you want to forward or give to Tammy, so that it can be for discussion at council in 2 weeks.
Okay, and I will,
2 weeks, yeah.
and I will send the email and the addresses of the people I mentioned.
Yep, for sure. Yep, send everything to Tammy and it'll correspond to mayor and council. Thank you very much. Thank you for your passion and for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move along to number 5 on our agenda, is community comments and feedback. If we have any of those tonight, now's the opportunity for any feedback from the community members. Come on up, tell us who you are and what you got.
Penny Byer, I had no intention of speaking tonight, but I'm the coordinator for the Thompson Seniors Community Resource Council. And we were going to do the best we can to support this initiative. For your information, as of the 2010 census, we had over 2,000 people aged 65 and over in Thompson, just Thompson. We have a huge number of people who are caregivers for seniors. Not everybody has a son or daughter who can take care of them. They're trying to struggle on their own, or their grandkids will pop in once in a while to check on them. There's a huge need for respite. There's a huge need for assisted living here. So we're going to support it. And I really hope that when your next AMM meeting in Winnipeg, that you bring it up there as well, that this is something that we need to have looked at. So thank you for listening to Katie and for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. And thank you, Penny, for what you're doing for our seniors in our city. We certainly do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other community comments that?
Thank you for the information.
Any community comments that from anybody? All right, we're gonna move on to reports. 6.1 tonight is a report from the development department. And who would like to speak to that? Oh, Director Fines.
Good evening, everybody. So my report is attached as part of your written material. I'll go through it. I'm not going to read line for line. I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights. So now we're back in September. I've kind of go back to my regular routine reporting. So I'm kind of reporting on our ISEC projects, our facilities, and our development. So from the road renewal perspective, as you can see, work is underway. They come down their 8th rotation. They've been working on a number of streets. I think every street has been touched as part of our project scope. We made some small changes. We heard from the public and we heard from really multi-use pathways are what we want to see. So what we've done is we've actually modified the scope of work for the Thompson Drive section. So what we were originally planning to do was to replace the concrete or cement sidewalk on the north side of Thompson Drive. We have modified that, and that now will become a multi-use pathway. From wherever they're ripped up, just beyond ports, all the way to actually outside of our project scope zone, all the way to UCN Drive, to time with the multi-use pathway in UCN Drive. So we've done that. If you drive Thompson Drive, it's all ripped up. It's wide. It's the standard width. It's 3 meters of our multi-use, and away it goes. So the other one is with regards to. The other one is regards to my next bullet is what's not going to get done this summer. So as I report my last meeting, Juniper Drive from Spruce to Southwick. is one of the areas that's not gonna get completed this summer. That's due to the fact that the water main renewal not gonna be completed until June. What's come to light just recently is the fact that we're most likely not gonna get any more work done on Thompson Drive between Mystery Lake and Riverside. And most of it due to the concrete availability. We struggled to get concrete in July. We got a little bit of it in August, and it looks like it's gonna be a struggle in September. We don't wanna pull curbs out unless we know we're gonna get concrete to put the new ones back in the ground, so we don't wanna leave the curb on for the summer, or sorry, for the winter, especially on Thompson Drive. So at this point in time, we're not projecting that Thompson Drive is gonna get any more work done than what's done. We will fill the void, so if you're driving in the north lane, you know, we see that curb where they put the brand new curb in on the one side. We will get that filled in and made safe for winter. But unless things dramatically change over the next 4 weeks, we don't foresee any continued activity on Thompson Drive. Every other road is still slated to get completed as per plan, so that includes all of the 22 roads that are underway, and the addition of the Oak Street part that we've done. So that's all going to get carried on. We are projecting that we will be here up until the middle of October as planned, and so our next asphalting crew comes in. I believe it's next week is scheduled. This week the base crew comes back, and they'll be preparing some of the last bit of curb work to get done. We've also got about 200 driveways within the road areas that we've been doing. About 200 driveways to get completed. That includes asphalt and concrete. Again, we want to get all of those done before winter. Switching to water and wastewater, Accurate and Stantec, Accurate HD and Stantec, they both completed the 3 locations. They are back on site this week and carry on. We will continue on Westwood Drive. They've done the work between Sturgeon and Sauger North. Now they're going south. They got as far as Pintail before they left, and now they will work from Pintail Crescent to Char Bay. One of the questions that comes up is around streetlights. We have had, and actually I got an email today from Hydro to make sure we get the streetlights back up. So Juniper and Deerwood will get the streetlights. The plan is hopefully to get all those streetlights replaced before end of October. And we are working with Hydro to see if we can get temporaries on Westwood to fill in the dark. The water project is responsible for that one section of rehab on Deerwood between Wolf and the water park. And that is, if you've been driving it, it's stripped and ready to go. So as soon as the asphalt crew comes back, we'll get that in. All the curb work has been done already. Switching off the capital projects and facilities, the ice is back. The GD will be starting on September 18th and ready to go back after Thanksgiving. As we spoke earlier, the geotechnical assessment for the Gordon Beard Arena and City Hall has been awarded, and work is underway. When I wrote my report, I didn't have a date. They're actually arrived today, and they're working actually tonight already. The building envelope center for the public safety building has been awarded. They will be in town next week to conduct that work. And the remediation work for the public safety building cells, you recall, was supposed to be repainting the cells. That work was completed in July, and now we're going to work to clear that. Development, we've got one option, still underway. We're waiting for the contractor to come back with plans. We issued 15 permits. Well, I'm just going to skip to August. We issued 10 permits in August with $356,000 worth of construction costs. June and July is there for your information. And year to date, we've done 56 permits with a total construction cost of $26.8 million. Year to date, last year we did 52 permits with about $13.6 million. The building permit comparisons for June, July, and August are there for your response. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Chair. A quick question about the road renewal. Maple Leaf doing the 2022 and 23 project, are they on schedule? On time? This could be complete by end of this.
With the exception of the roads that I talked about, Juniper and Thompson Drive, everything else is slated to be completed by the time.
So what that means, if just say they cannot complete 23 project,
They'll be back in the spring to finish it.
are they going to charge us another mobilization for that?
It's all part of the contract, hopefully in one slot.
Because they gotta move the equipment back to south and then. All right, good enough, thanks.
Mark.
Just for the public, but you also added staggering in there, right?
Yes, Staghorn will be
In
done.
addition.
We are looking at, I believe it's been already, it hasn't been, build, will be milled this week. And then all of the payments will be completely out of that new area, it will be your cycle.
Thank you.
Whatever.
I just had a question regarding the, you said that there would be some additional work done to, ensure there are no safety concerns over the winter for those, areas where we couldn't get concrete due to delays with that. Is there gonna be any additional cost to the city, or is that going to be included in their contract?
It's included as part of the cost, so we're just working on what it's gonna be right now, we're doing asphalt, we're just with that aggregate and pack it down, but basically it's that curve, that north curve, that you can feel that, if you drive it right now, there's a little gap between the pavement and the curve, that's what we're doing.
And there's no increase to the contract for that change?
Not when we're right now.
Short question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The other question I had was regarding accessibility, and so when we're putting in these new curves, and adding ramps to them, I guess, what is the requirements in terms of accessibility? So when I was driving down Wolf Street, there appeared to be like the ledge on the ramps, I guess, were very visible while I was driving, which would make me believe that it would be really hard for someone in a wheelchair to get up them. So I don't know if that's because there's gonna be new asphalt done there eventually.
That's exactly.
Okay, so it's just not being done this year.
Correct.
Okay. thank
That
you.
will be done, both will be done this year.
Oh,
So when they pour the curb, they pour the curb to the new elevation, and then the asphalt comes in and takes all of it.
Okay, sorry, I don't remember that being on
Yes.
the list, but thank you for clarifying.
Counselor Chung, did you have your hand up when I missed you?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Someone told me the question of Dale Drive, you say, I'm losing 18 inches of roadway. I mean, the new curve is, and the old curve are different of 18 inches. Are we some kind of new, narrow a little bit on the street or what?
Director, do you have
They're
something?
losing
So
18 inches.
all of the road constructions were built into, all of the road design were built into these standards. When roads were constructed originally, there are some extremely wide roads in Thompson that are way wider than what we need under the road code. So all of the new design, all the new roads have been designed to meet that based on the type of road they are, whether it's collector, artery, or just a residential street. So yes, here we did get narrower slightly. We're looking to do the same thing
Okay.
with Westwood and basically trying to bring everything into spec as to what it should be.
Not because of budgeting or,
No, absolutely not.
or no. Good, good, thank you.
Counselor Fitzpatrick?
Thank you, Mayor. So you were saying Thompson Drive is not gonna get paid, sure?
We're running into a problem with concrete. Concrete availability this summer has been an absolute struggle between our project, the airport, the bridge,
I get that.
everybody's trying to get concrete.
So with the parts that have the concrete down there, is that part gonna get paid?
No, because they can't do the other side of the boulevard. They don't want to put an asphalt lane down if we can't do the whole width of the road, right? Because I think as you saw in Portage, Counselor, we don't want to have a huge difference.
So we're gonna have a shit show all winter.
So, while the hope is it's fill in the gaps and we'll leave the asphalt as it is for the winter. Yeah, we're not gonna tear anything out. We're not tearing these.
No, I get that. I think they were, in my opinion, but I think they were dragging their feet along on a lot of this. Just my opinion. I don't do the work, so. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Wong, did you have another comment?
Yes, thanks. Just additional question, about the Juniper Drive, Spruce to Selker. It's not done. It's not going to be done this year.
No.
So who responsibility to maintain that? It's pretty bad.
So we actually met about this 2 weeks ago with the contractors. So any trench settlement, so any settlement that is trench-based settlement is the responsibility of Accurate. If it is potholes and general maintenance needs to be done, that will be with the city. So we're working with their public works department to make sure that is properly maintained. We are looking at trying to possibly put in some sacrificial asphalt on the curb by the water park. We know we need fill there next spring to bring it up. So if we put a very thin lift of asphalt in there, we could potentially get around the corner and take that problem out of there for the winter, and then we would use it as fill in the spring. We would mill it up and use it as fill in the spring. We don't need filling.
Okay, because the front of Selkirk into.
Right off the Selkirk?
Very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad, and then the way the spruce come out from Juniper.
Yeah.
Into Juniper.
That's-
All, there are two spots, particular, it's
Yeah.
disaster really.
The section that we're looking at is from the spruce to the, just around the curve of the water park, that area. There was a lot of hesitation on the north side because that was the last disturbed. And there just hasn't been enough sediment there to put over top of it. And the fear is that we'll put a layer over top of it, it'll just collapse over winter and we'll be in worse shape than it is.
So that means it's CD responsibility for the time being.
Less of this trench settlement.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. There's no other comments. I just want to also mention about the lighting. Understanding saying the end of October, but can we just have a backup plan for the night of Halloween?
We already have a
Okay.
backup plan, that'll be the backup generators, we've already discussed that, we're already looking at locations. We're driving around at night to try to figure out where the locations are.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I also think it's such a good story to say that we have $26 million in permits compared to 13 million a year ago. That's pretty crazy good. And we haven't met on a regular basis with our summer break, but to you, Director Safran, in your department, this is a record amount of work going on in our city and history. Having to coordinate, like Councilor Fitzpatrick said, a lot of construction companies and contractors. You always have detailed reports for us and answers for council, so thank you very much. As we understand it, it's a good news story, but comes with a lot of frustration also for departments, so thank you for your work on that. We're gonna go into recreation. We have a report on recreation from Director Yvonne.
So recreation, it's the summer months, obviously things have slowed down a bit at the TRCC. However, we're still doing some programming and trying to do things for people that are still in the community, knowing that a lot of people do go away for vacation and whatnot. So we've been still offering drop-in basketball. We've actually included this year drop-in soccer, volleyball, and we've also just added drop-in pickleball. That seems to be taking up. I know the seniors they really enjoy it. And I know that Penny had put on a class, so it's going quite well. We're hoping to do that outside next year up by the North Lake School. We're hoping to put the lines on that outdoor area up here, so we can do pickleball up there next year. So there's options in the inside and outside. We also have the game room still open. It is well attended. This year is the first year we were able to offer it for private birthday party rentals. And that as well has been going quite well. We've had to turn quite a few people away because we can only use the game room when there's ice climb operators in the building now. So we've had I had to turn quite a few potential birthday parties away from the game because we just didn't have an ice climb operator in the building. So we did hold a meeting with the ice user groups for this upcoming season. We really didn't have a lot of people in attendance. However, those that were in attendance, there was no issues. There hasn't been, and even by those who didn't attend, there were no issues. So they had nothing of concern that happened last year that we needed to kind of correct this year. The CA, the ice is back into the CA, and we started renting it on August the 14th. And again, like I mentioned, due to that meeting, it's only used local days there, so we really can't use the 7 days a week now. We limit it now down to just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And game room will close on September 17th. That's why I want to mention the ice is going to be going back into the GB. So we have to take all of the games out of the GB information to put the ice back in. The hope would be that we could take some of those games once we do have a plan with the play structure area to put some of the electronic games and whatnot into the play structure area, so we can offer that as an alternative for games and different things for kids to play. For June and July and August, we've done quite a bit of stuff. Like I said, even though the ice wasn't in, we still try to offer things to the community. We had a game room for some first aid classes. We had some yoga classes. Skate 8 came up from Winnipeg. That's actually a group from Winnipeg. They tore Manitoba, so they're a bunch of professional skateboard people. So they come to Thompson and they do a demo and show the kids how to skateboard properly. They put a little show on for them, and then they actually bring prizes and hand prizes to the kids. We had over 50 youth attend the event, and they actually mentioned to Darlene that that's the most they've ever had attend in all of the communities that they've attended. So it was a really good turnout this year. We held some Artie Parker, we had the Brad there, National Indigenous Day, Canada Day, and a few other things. We had some hate nights that have taken place there as well. Most of them are selling out. We try to do them again at cost neutral. We need a minimum of 4 people to put on a class. And we do struggle getting 4 at times. Most times it's the same people. That's why we're during the upcoming leisure mart, we're putting out a survey for the community to see what kind of recreational activities and different workshops and whatnot that they would like to see. Also at the TRCC. So we're working in on that to get that ready to go. We also had a mural that was painted and put into the TRCC. I've attached it. Jason Lucas came up and took him a couple weeks. Probably would have took him a week in total, but he was kind of doing so many different jobs in Thompson. So on rainy days, he would come inside and do ours, and then on nice days, he was outside doing other murals in the community. It turned out beautifully. It was a joint partnership between the RCMP and the City of Thompson. RCMP, because they're celebrating their 150th anniversary, so they received a grant. So part of that is that, and then the other part is what the city contributed to do that entire wall. On September 30th, we will be doing a unveiling. I'm going to get a plaque made, and the RCMP have provided us for what they would like on that part. So we'll be doing the unveiling of that on September 30th at the TRCC. So the RCMP would be invited as the members. We did hold a end of summer family event for the community on August 29th. We had skating, there was games, there was pizza. We had approximately 900 people. I think in the first 35 minutes, I believe it was, we were out of pizza. So it was a really good turnout. We'll try to do, that's the second one we've done this year. So we'll probably try to continue to do a couple a year. People really seem to like it. And I didn't put in my report, but the Tansy side coming into Thompson, just the one by the Malamita Friendship Center, that one's been resurfaced. It's been done. Jason Lucas actually did that as well, in partnership with the city and the Thompson Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. So that is it's looking really nice. We actually did it as best he could with the extra parts that we had from the extra sign. So it looks nice and pleasing. There's no rust on it. He's completely painted it and resurfaced it, so it looks really good. And we also held this year, we held our first employee and family night on August 31st at the TRCC. We had approximately 90 to 100 staff members and their families, spouse, children come and played games. We had also, and it was lots of great positive feedback from it. It's definitely probably something that we will try to do every year, just recognizing our staff that they're not just staff members, they're also, it's good for them to be able to bring their family members and kids kind of to work to show them, you know, the city's a good place to work and the fun things that we do have, because a lot of them don't come out to some of our events. Here, we also reached out to the user groups to seek interest in anybody who might have recreational memorabilia that we could place on the walking track area of the TRCC. When you go into the TRCC, there's not a lot of memorabilia stuff. There's a couple of things. Last year, Norman Stars gave us a shadow box that we put up down the stairs. So we go to a lot of other rec facilities. They have a lot of different memorabilia that's all free to kind of look at. We're limited really with our wall space that we have in the lobby area. We have a lot of class, or there's stuff already up on there. So I kind of thought about putting shadow boxes on our walking track. We do have a lot of areas that currently don't have advertisement. There's advertising opportunity there, but there's no advertisement there. So we reached out, we do have, I think, 4 or 5 different organizations right now that have availability that they want to give us. So the shadow boxes are all done, they're made, there's no cost for anybody to do it, but the organization will have to just sign and give that the city is not going to be responsible for the damage of any items that are in the shadow box. So the box will have a left stand covering over the top, so nobody can actually physically touch the items that are in there. So we're working with the carpenters and we're really hopeful that, again, trying to work on rainy days on the inside. We're hoping that this is going to be completed this week. So we have 7 boxes right now ready to go. What's what out here? So we have upcoming stuff right now. We've got the Leisure Mart is taking place this weekend. We have 35 spots available. As of today, there were 17 that were spoken for, and we had 12 spots for crafters to take place. We're doing something a little bit different this year. We've never really offered crafters or artisans to come, but we're hoping if we offer that, it might entice people who would not normally come down to the TRCC to come down because everybody likes to craft deals. So we figured let's put them there so we can kind of come out, and all 12 tables are currently spoken for. So we don't really have any room for any more crafters to be there. And then we have a couple ideas that we want to move forward on doing a city mascot. So a lot of communities have a city mascot. Every school in Thompson has a city mascot. Hydro has one, UCN has one, but the city doesn't. I just purchased a mascot for the fire department, so they finally now have their own little, they don't have a name or anything, but spotty dog. Anyways, Smokey, I don't know what they're gonna call them, but anyways, so we just got them one last week. So we're gonna do a contest for the city. So that's something again that we're gonna have at the Leisure Mart. Hopefully it'll be an animal, something that we currently don't have. I thought of a wolf, but then I didn't know that buffalo has a wolf. So we're gonna try to do something different and make it a fun event for the community so they can have their input to see what kind of mascot they would like us to have. And then we also have a Truth and Reconciliation event that we're going to be putting on similar to what we did last year on the city side. So that's going to happen on the 29th of September.
Thank you for the report. Any comments from council? Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sonia, for the report. Looks like you spent a lot of time and energy for this 3 months to get the RCC going. Just a curiosity about the non-ice activity. From your report, you say you have those drop-in basketball, drop-in soccer and volleyball stuff. And also the game room is also well attended. And also the rent is well used. Do you have any idea of what is the revenue that you get from that?
We would be able, I could pull that off our after this. Yeah, so it is all separated, so we should be able to pull it off. I wouldn't be able to give you the numbers tonight, but I can go back.
You should prepare the numbers.
Yeah, I didn't know. I should have known you were gonna ask that.
Anyway, those are the things I like to know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think there's a lot of work to get this thing going. Thank you.
Councilman Mark?
Thank you, Tony, for your report, and happy that it's, sounds like it's full. The quick question I had, and I know you probably have the answer to this one, was we can't have it open when we don't have an ice maker. Do we have some more staff taking the ice maker training? I know I talked to Stephen Allen, or I think there was somebody taking a course, so just wanted to let people know that we're working on that.
Yeah, they're actually a lot of staff, but yes, I believe there is one staff right now that can grade the test, and I believe my understanding was he was going to try to grade it this month. October.
Yeah, I know that's a big issue for all northern communities. If you have an arena, you can't use it unless there's somebody there with that training.
Right, so we have 3 right now, 1 full-time vacant position. So if the staff is successful, we would have more. But we are at the end. We do have 2 of those 4 staff that have 30+ years of service in the city. So
We have to start looking for somebody else to start taking the courses.
yeah, we have to be a little bit innovative to try to come up with some ideas to try to offer to other staff and let them.
It would be a horrible thing if we couldn't
Oh,
have those places full.
we do have a number of staff that we did offer last year and the year before, they did their level one. They were- yeah. So we do have, I think, 4 staff. Oh, I think we had 4 additional staff that did their level one. So,
Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay, done.
Thank you. Are you still moving ahead with the racquetball court? Or it's not there, so.
Yes, we're hoping that it's going to be ready. Lyle was going to take one last look at the tender and I'm hoping to get there this week.
Okay.
I did get an extension, December. And I'm looking for another grant, seeing if I can.
So are you still putting it on the main floor or are you putting it?
Well, after, Cash Off, who's no longer with us, he did report, it was it cost considerably amount of more money than what we thought. So we're just gonna look at just doing the roundball with no storage on top of them.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just a couple things for me. Sonia, what are the times for leisure work?
And Sunday is 5 to 7.
Oh,
and
Friday.
Friday, and then 5 to 9. Yeah, you don't pay in one of the
5 to 9 and 10 to 2.
There you go.
Perfect, thank you. And the other thing for me is, my understanding the concession will be open now for September for people to know.
Yes,
Okay, so we do have a concession, so the public's aware of that.
yes.
Okay, thanks for that. And the other thing is the North Star home opener is September 30th also. So that's for the public. And maybe once we get some of the shadow boxes up, we may have some past user groups that may have stuff that want to come forward with more memorabilia, because we are terrible at that or history in our facility. So let's get restarted that. So thanks for the report. We're gonna move on to a memo from the CFO in regards to business tax calculation. This is for our CFO.
Thank you, Mayor. In October 2019, we had a service here, JFL Services, that closed their business. For some reason, the activation of the cancellation of the business tax for this, that did not occur until 2021. With the 2021 and 2022, business tax being canceled under authority of the provincial assessment list. I did some research in this, and the October 2019 and all of the 2020 business taxes plus penalties relieved on the roll. Was able to locate the copy of the letter that was sent out in October 2019 to both the city and to the landlord, advising that he was closing his business and not renewing his lease. And some other documentation that was received by the city since then by his mom. Sorry, he's looking after his affairs because he had left the city. So when the assessment branch sent over the tax cancellation initially, they can only go back into the prior year. So but any other receiving proof, the municipality has flexibility on canceling those taxes. So if the total amount that's still outstanding on the bill on the roll for the 2019 and 2020 is $734.23, and the council is in agreement. I would like to bring forward a resolution to have these canceled.
Sure. Thank you. Any comments for council to move this forward to a resolution for next Monday night? Council Wong?
Thank you, Madam. I will agree to bring it forward, but the question is, so that means the receipt part will be short. They didn't pay this amount, right? Basically, we send the bill, but we did not receive the amount.
No, because he had notified the city in 2019 that he was closing his business, so the cancellation should have progressed to the assessment branch at that time, and we would have received a timely cancellation, but that didn't happen until January 20.
So did we include that as a revenue then? Because we did send the bill to
That
them.
was part of the tax levy.
So how you will balance the book then?
Pardon me?
How the book's going to be balanced then? That means it's short. they did not pay, but we did send the bill
It's still,
without notify the assessment. I understand that part, so how can we balance the book without, that means the receiving part shortage?
when it remains as a steady tax on the tax bill until such time as the payer either pays it or we cancel it.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the tax reserve. Or the allowance for tax.
I got it now, under delinquency, yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other comments? So I'll look to council for consensus to move this forward for resolution. Carrie, thank you. We will go to, we're going to development, memo from the Director of Development and Technical Services in regard to bylaw 2036-2023 being a zoning bylaw amendment for healthcare. Director Savanas, you're commenting on this?
Careful. While we're doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the city is in receipt of an application from the property owner of, 264-424 Princeton Drive, which is the Princeton Towers, to add care home as allowable use in the rural, in the residential high density zone. Under our current bylaw, care home is an allowable principal use in all residential zones except for residential, high density. The reason for this application is that the owner of the towers is working with the Aurora Healing Center. They would like to make renovations to the building and open a recovery center at the towers. The facility would include medical detox, sober living accommodations. A letter of intent from the architect has been provided and is attached to my memo this evening. Our regional planner, Brett Mack, along with the administration, myself, and our chief building inspector, met with the property owner in Aurora to kind of find the best fit in what they're trying to do. And within our zoning bylaw, and care home is the one that best fit. Our regional planner, Brett Mack, of course, who looks after multiple jurisdictions in the province, says this aligns with what's done in other communities. So he's gone ahead and developed the package. And the recommendation is that this be allowed as a conditional use or added as a conditional use in the residential high density zone. Again, just a reminder, what that means is if the bylaw goes through, the applicant still then has to put a conditional use application in. So when we talk about sort of otherwise. So with that said, we'd like to bring this forward to our council meeting for first reading at the next time.
Thank you. Any comments from council? Councilor Mark?
I'll be supporting this going forward to a council meeting and we need these kinds of things for sure, and we have to find a space to do it, and it still have to come with a conditional use for us anyway, so I'm agreeing with it.
Thank you. Mayor Smith?
Yes, I believe this fits in very well with our community safety well-being plan moving forward in that, so I'll definitely be supporting it.
So I'll look to the council Wong.
Yes, thank you, Madam. I will support this. I believe they will have a separate entrance though, right?
The building design hasn't been figured out yet. Councilor, they are currently working with their architect, who's in touch with our building inspector, to make sure that if it does go through the requirements that is addressed. I don't know how the entrances will work.
Good idea, but thanks.
I'll look for council for a consensus to move this forward. Gary, thank you. Look forward to Monday night. Memo from the Director of Development and Technical Services in regards to bylaw 2037-2023 being a zoning bylaw amendment for adding retail sales store in a permit as a permitted use.
Yeah, good evening again. As everyone knows, in July 2023, McMoney Building Supplies suffered a fire, and their main store building was completely destroyed. The business is looking to develop at the same location. However, under the current zoning bylaw, retail sales store is not permitted in that zone. Okay, the reason that they were able to operate is that they were existing before the 2012 bylaw came into play. So they're what's confirmed, or they're what's known as pre-existing non-conforming, meaning their use can continue even though it's against the bylaw, their use can continue until one of two things happen. One is there is a change in their use, or there is a substantial renovation of the building. A new building is considered a substantial renovation. So in discussion with Brett Mack, a regional planner, who has had these similar things go through, this has to come through administration as a zoning bylaw amendment. There is no cost to this. The fire was not their fault, fire is not our fault. So we're pushing this through as basically as an administrative issue to get it resolved. So looking to get retail sales store added to that zone to allow McMahon to rebuild.
Thank you very much. Gonna go to comments, or do I just go to the consensus to bring this forward to Monday? All right, we're gonna move that forward. A bit of a no-brainer. Thank you, Director, and I think you're up again. Development Director of Development Services in regards to land lease extension for government air.
Yeah, so this is an annual item. So Government Air has a lease across the river. They had a 3-year lease that expired in 2015. And after that, every year they've asked for a 1-year extension. They are not interested in a multi-year, they want a 1 year. And they do require a resolution of council for this 1-year extension. So I'm bringing this forward to move to council next week. Their lease rates from October 1st of 2023 to September 30th of 2024 is the maximum lease rate, which is $5,036.
Thank you, and as the Director said, this is an annual thing that you'll come forward as council. Any comments? All right, I'll look for a consensus. There's some.
Yeah, I do have some concerns about that building. It is really fallen into disrepair. And I do think, I know our inspectors were out there. Definitely before the winter comes, there has to be some boarding up of windows and doors that have all been ripped open all this summer. Thank you.
I'll look for noted. Okay, I'll look for a consensus to move this forward to Monday night. Councillor Wong, are you opposed or you're favorite? Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to, guess what? And I'm from the Director of Development Technical Services. It's all about you tonight in regard to additional road work.
So taking a note from a councilor's meeting in July about adding street and the request to come back for more. We've had discussions, the Director of Public Works, myself, and our 2 engineering technicians met in early July, I guess it was, to look at some alternative locations in Thompson to do some patching repair. And we identified 5 areas and basically put those 5 areas out to Maple Leaf, given the fact that they're already in town, to provide us a quote. And what we are doing here is that we come back with the quotation. And I've given you a map there with the exact location that is working well. And in discussion with our CFO is we have money available in the Canada Community Building Fund, which is formerly the gas tax. And we're looking to take an amount of 238,000, which is basically the cost of the work plus 10% contingency, just in case we have to add some fill or there's a little, maybe there's a manhole that needs to be raised or lowered. So we'd be taking that 238 out of the Canada Community Building Reserve or gas tax to fund this work. So I'd like to move this forward to council meeting next week for a resolution to get this additional.
Thank you, Director. I have a concern with the Maple Leaf quote. It says Lee Thompson Aquatic Center.
My apologies, you're right. I will get it. I can get it redrafted. That is a typo that came across.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from council? Councillor Wong?
Thank you. Are those roads will be fall into our road renewal project eventually? Those
No, none of these patches are right now in our road renewal areas. That's why.
so some kind of like a permanent fix then.
Yes, yeah. Riverside Drive is carrying on where we left off at the end and trying to go past Granite and Copper. The other side of Riverside is an area that was dug up. It's the corner of Riverside Granite by Riverside School. The Martin Bay corner is probably the corner that was dug up as part of the water main renewal a couple of times. Tree line is a section of road across from Moffett Supply that the road is just becoming disrepair. And the 5th area is Nelson. It's just past the splash park on your way to the corner of, Yale, I believe it is, where we always have a bit of a problem in the spring, and it's kind of gravelly and that, so basically, this is patchwork, contract.
Yeah, go ahead, thank you.
I'm a little bit concerned about the permanent patch, because it's only less than 2 inches based on.
So we're
So
taking,
I worry about it's not gonna last longer than that.
so this is a mill and overlay work, so we're not taking the entire layer of asphalt off. We're only taking the top layer off and adding 2 inches on top of it. That will leave, there will be a base left underneath it. At this point, I don't know what that base will leave. We're typically basing that there is 3 to 4 inches of asphalt there. There may even be more in some.
Because when you're patching, that means the base got problem. That's how I look at it, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't shave the top and put the layer. It's gotta be some sort of a soft spot. That's why you create the crack and all that.
Yeah.
So by adding just less than 2 inches, I'm worried about that part.
Okay.
Again, I'm not an engineer, but it's just I drive the road a lot, so I just kind of, that's what I realized.
Okay, you can take that back and have a discussion with the board.
Please.
Councilor Overfer?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I was just curious what other areas of town that, had water main renewals from water breaks and various other reasons the road was dug up and, that are from previous years. And if there's a plan for those as well, because I know this is only incorporates a couple of those areas.
I believe those are supposed to be addressed through the utility fund. We would have to have a discussion with our public works director on that. I think they should be accounted under that, but.
Good.
Yeah, if we could get an update, like, I mean, I know we're already in September, so I'm just curious when those. And I understand that the director of public works isn't here tonight, but. Maybe for our next committee of the whole, if we can find out.
Well, I think we're bringing this forward for a resolution if we can, so we have the background information attached before the resolution or attached to it on Monday. Councilor Mark?
Yeah, I appreciate that you found a few spots. I know we brought this up because we weren't gonna finish off Juniper and a couple other spots that were planned for this year, and we didn't want to do them because it hadn't settled yet. So appreciate that we're trying to use up some of the time that we have available for within the tender that we have, or within and with Midweek. So thank you for getting these numbers and getting this information to us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Mark. Just want clarification, this isn't coming back for a resolution. When I read this, the money's already identified from the CFO coming out of the reserve, correct?
I believe it requires a resolution.
Because we're taking it out of reserve.
Oh, okay. Okay, so can we get some of the background questions attached to the resolution for Monday night? Council consensus to move this to the resolution for Monday? Carried, thank you. All right, we're gonna go to a memo from the programs manager in regards to our solid waste bylaw. We'd like to speak to this. Oh, thank you.
So we have enclosures, garbage enclosures right now, on most of the organizations or businesses, I guess, in town. That was done by bylaw back in 2009. And it was mostly prepared to stop the garbage or anything that falls under the garbage enclosure from flowing around. So this sounds like a half or 3 wall fence. We have had a lot of issues and concerns about the work from some of the local businesses that they have the fencing up there, and it's a place for people to hide and do not so nice things kind of around the back. So we do have right now several different businesses that currently do not have their enclosures up, so they are not complying with our bylaw. So right now the inspections department is starting to organize things to send letters in to contact these businesses. We do have some businesses that don't want to put them up. So it's almost like a safety concern at this point because there's a lot of public that are going in around behind them. So before we send out these letters, we wanted to see what council's feedback would be. Do you want us to continue with these enclosures that are around the garbage bins at this time, or do you want to look at revising the bylaw itself? Because we do have some businesses that are saying that they're not going to respond.
Mayor Swick?
Yeah, so that we're going back to 2009. I know we were, in 2014, when we started council, we, were enforcing, the enclosures. At that time I went around, there was still 200 businesses without the enclosures, according to our bylaw. A lot of those businesses still don't have the enclosures. I've had a lot of concerns from the citizens that goes on in the enclosures and how hard they are to clean out. I really think that we as a council have to do a restart on this and see what we want to do with the bins and stuff around town. A lot of the businesses are new, don't even know about the bylaw. So I think we have to have an education piece before we start targeting businesses with tickets and the like. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Oberdorfer?
Yeah, I'm not in support of sending the letters. I understand the safety concerns around the garbage enclosures, and I see it on a daily basis when I leave work. So I can respect the original intent of creating the enclosure, and I think it does, you know, create a nice aesthetic for our community. But I think there are a lot of health and safety issues now related to those enclosures. And I think we need to figure out a different plan as to how we can address those. And I know I don't like to see that daily when I leave work, so I can't imagine that the business owner that has to deal with cleaning that area appreciates having to deal with it either. And I think it kind of defeats the purpose of why the fencing bylaw was created to begin with in terms of trying to clean up our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Wong?
I personally like to see this bylaw lifted and redesign a different way of doing this. This is totally, I never like to see that, support that to begin with, but I have to build mine at that time and I have the restaurant. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my suggestion. I like to see that lifted and we design the new bylaw for that. Thank you.
You, Councilor Patrick?
Thank you. Yeah, and also, I think it needs to be revisited. I think it's created a lot more headaches for business owners than it solved, especially around the public, using them as bathrooms and other things. So definitely needs to be revisited.
Yeah.
I got the experience of this enclosure for my previous restaurant and create a lot of trouble to me, like people throwing garbage on the side out there and hide behind and do all kinds of things. So the unity enclosure may be a good idea for certain places for appearance, but not every place. So it should be an optional thing for the business owner. So I'd like to see this going to be reviewed.
Thank you.
Thank
City
you.
Manager?
Yeah, so it seems like there's a consensus forming. If you confirm that, we would bring back the bylaw and look to revising that section. So we would bring that forth in a future committee of the whole meeting with options or looking for council's feedback on what changes to make. But I just need you to confirm if that's the consensus.
So is the consensus of council to have this bylaw brought back for changes? Yep. Thank you. We'll go to 10.1, amendment from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to the agreement with Arctic Beverages. Go ahead, Sonia.
So in 2008, we did have an agreement with our beverages. It's a 10-year agreement. And that agreement has expired in 2018. I did bring it back to council at one point. But we did put it out and we've been in the see if there's any other business or organization that might want to enter into a specific with the city. We did receive 2 applicants, one being Arctic Beverages and the other is actually Canadian Monster. Administration is recommending that we move forward with entering into an agreement with Arctic Beverages again. As you can tell by the agreements that are attached to Arctic Beverages, they're supplying us with about close to $59,000 worth of as an investment in the TRCC versus the other applicant. There was not really any investment into the TRCC. It was more of what they could provide within the vending machines themselves. So looking for a recommendation, I guess regulation from administrations to approve that.
Any comments by council? Council Long?
The question is, this is kind of like a renew, right? They already did it last time, right?
It wouldn't be a renew, I guess. They did do it. We're not renewing it. This is a brand new agreement with them.
So previously, the previous contract, they also promised a bunch of things as well, right? They say they will invest all that. My question to you, did they fulfill that promise? Did they really invest all those so-called logo and light and all that into the TRCC?
Yes,
They all did fulfill.
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mayor Smith?
Yeah, I guess my question or concern that I have been asked is, what about tournaments, events that might be sponsored by one of the other venues or holders in that? How would that work out? And then even today, I had a comment from people working at the vendors in our own TRCC concession that they feel that they should be able to buy if a product's not at the right price from they could
Close up, but I think the gist of that is, what about the people that are owning the concession?
their I guess my main concern is about the tournaments.
With the concession, that actually was in their agreement, so they signed it, so they were aware of that when the agreement was signed. As far as other organizations coming in or tournaments, that's something that we can talk to our beverages about. Right now, there's just mostly making sure that the concession would sell Pepsi products, advertisement would continue to be where it is right now. They didn't say about anything about the tournament, so it's definitely something we can speak to them about.
Councilor Over, did you have a hand up?
My question is answered.
Okay, perfect. So is there a consensus to move this forward to get this signed and in place? All in favor? Yep. Thank you. We will go to that, oh, sorry, resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna back that up. I got a consensus to move this forward as a resolution to come to council on Monday night for signing. All those in favor? Yes. Thank you, teacher Cameron. What's that? Mayor Smook, are you in favor of moving this forward?
Oh,
You're on mute.
No, but I'm in the minority. That's fine.
Okay, thank you. I lost my spot here. Oh, a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to waiving the fees for truth and reconciliation. Mr. Wiseman, you're up.
So we were approached by a member of the committee for the reconciliation, to hold September 30th, truth and reconciliation at the TRCC. Unfortunately, they were not able to get another location in Thompson to hold their event. Last year, they did not hold it at the TRCC. They held it at a different location. Because September 30th is a statutory holiday, our building is not open. In order to accommodate them, there would be the additional cost of the overtime at double time for staff. I did have 1,500 on there, and I was the court gave me the new numbers is around $2,000 for staff to be able to staff it for the 6 hours. We're looking at having those fees waived.
Any comments, Councilor Overdover?
Yeah, I'll be supporting this. I just have one question regarding the hours, just based on the I guess the hours that their event was scheduled last year. Is 6 hours sufficient to cover? I guess that's my only concern, is if the amount ends up being higher, does this have to come back to council for approval again?
I had a phone call with, the school lady taking over, and she said it would be between 12, and it should be open by 3 o'clock. It's not gonna be like they did last year. So they're gonna be doing a walk from, I believe, Lane Hall to the TRCC, and they should be there between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. They're going to be doing a powwow in, the TRCC, and they're going to do a grab and go lunch. So they figure they should be open between 2 and 2:30, so it may be less than the 6 hours.
Any other comments? Okay, I'm gonna look for a consensus to bring this forward as a resolution for Monday night. All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Now we're gonna go to under legislative. We have a memo from the executive assistant in regards to appointing one member of council to the board of revision. Would like to speak to this.
Sure.
So due to Councillor Colburn's excused absence, there's now a vacancy on the 2024 Board of Revision. So in order to deal with that, we'll need a resolution brought forth at the next regular meeting of council to appoint a council member. We just need a resolution.
Okay, so we have to have a name brought forward, correct?
Yeah.
So currently we have Councillor McIver and Councillor Lundmark on there. So is there any member of council that would like to join the board of revision so that can see the resolution for Monday meeting? Any volunteers? Councillor Fitzpatrick has this volunteer. Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick, and I'll look for a consensus to bring this forward for resolution Monday night. All those in favor? That's carried. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
11.2 is a review of the Operation Red Nose agreement. That always comes forward this time of year, and I think I'll look to city manager.
Yeah, this has become a housekeeping item for the city of Thompson. So Operation Red Nose has a history of operating in the city, providing rides and helping people get their vehicles home during the Christmas season. So that they get home safely if they've had some fun that night. So every year this resolution comes forth for council to pass, allowing the city to act as a host organization, but there's other organizations within the community that typically run it. So really just looking for consensus to bring it forth for resolution at the next meeting of council.
Councillor Wong, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Madam. Just to, the question is, because we passed a new bylaw for vehicle for hiring. So we did mention about the red nose operation. How are we going to deal with this? Do they have a different way of conduct the business without having the logo or register to the city? How you guys do it?
That was included in the bylaw itself, so they were exempt from that, so they.
Exempt for that. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, consensus to bring this as a resolution on Monday. All those in favor? Councillor Burford, Councillor Wong, are you opposed? You're in favor? Okay, thank you. That's moving forward. All right. Letter from the Minister of Municipal Relations in regards to 2023 funding to support strategic infrastructure projects. There's a letter attached in a memo from our Chief Financial Officer. Anthony?
Yeah, I'll review the letter. So the letter is from Honorable Andrew Smith, the Minister. It's copied there to many of the deputy ministers and Minister of Municipal Relations. It's addressed to Mayor Smook, letting us know that the city of Thompson will be receiving $999,408.45 in additional provincial funding in 2023 to support strategic infrastructure projects within the community. Also goes on further to let us know the breakdown across the province, as well as there will be an additional new fund outside of the city of Winnipeg of 44.5 million that municipalities will be able to apply for other infrastructure projects. So it's really a good news story. The administration is looking for other projects to apply on our behalf. It's just to bring this forth for council's knowledge. And I believe the CFO has a memo as well with ideas on how to allocate some of those dollars in this current fiscal year. And go to the CFO to discuss those.
Thank you. As mentioned by Anthony, we are going to receive the $999,408 from the province for strategic projects. During the budget deliberations for capital, this evening we decided on 5 different projects. In my memo, there was one project that we did identify, but we got to 2024. So, but those projects that were identified, that would be the balance city grant, $753,908, which will carry over into the 2024 capital. Thank you.
Thank you. And the public will be aware of all that'll be part of our financial plan, everything else will be presented shortly. Any comments from council? For information, thank you. And our last agenda item is bulletin number 2023-20 in regards to the municipal service delivery improvement program. Was the manager for this?
Yeah, so the province and the Department of Municipal Relations is offering the Municipal Service Delivery Improvement Program again. This year, the applications are open. The fund is for $1.5 million. It is for municipalities to apply for ways of increasing or improving the service delivery that they offer, as well as finding any cost savings through delivering that program differently. So the administration is putting together some ideas for us to apply on. We're also asking if council has certain operations at the city that they would like us to consider putting forth as well. I think one of the ones we're looking at right now is how to help the fire department on offering their services. Because there's some struggle right now on the number of ambulance calls that we're getting. And if there's different ways of offering that service or different ways of staffing that, to take some of the pressure off of the frontline PCPs and ACP paramedics with possibly using different levels of certification. So I don't want to get into too further detail, but we're looking at that as an option. But if council has other things that you'd like us to look at, we'd like to hear from you. And then we could work up what the best proposal is to put it into government.
I'm saying that the deadline is September 15th, is that correct?
That's correct.
So if council has any ideas or suggestions, we would ask you to get them to Tammy by the end of this week. Is that fair, or you want it before then?
If you could put it to Tammy, myself, then yes, we will, the administration will have a look over and work it up. Because we have to include financial information. And so that's one of the criteria we'd have to use to make that decision.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from council? Councilor Lenmark?
Is this something that we could use for our plans to
Reorg some of the departments, or
Yeah.
I put in for that in the past, and the response that I got back from the program is it was too much. They want much more focused on a single department or a single program. So I put in for that in the past and been denied. So that's why we're saying, let's either look at, say, rec, or public works, or a certain program that we offer and focus down on that specifically.
Mayor Smith? Okay.
Yeah, I would just like you to set a deadline for us, mayor and council, to get back suggestions so that we know we're in a time frame, whether it be 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, so that you can wrap it up. Thank you.
Well, if you have any ideas, they gotta be in 3 days because it's due on the 15th. So if council has any suggestions, you can email them to Tammy and Anthony by Friday. Or Thursday?
By the 8th, Friday.
By Friday, the 8th. All right, I'll look for a mover to adjourn. Councilor Fitzpatrick, second by Councilor Lenmark, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.